All right, everybody, welcome in to the Not Move podcast, college football breakdown, episode one. I'm here with my man Detroit.
What up, though? How y'all doing today? How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing great, man. We got to talk some college ball. We got to recap weeks one and week two, and after seeing like what happened in week one and week two, that's like a little eyeball test for what's to come in the coming weeks. And this week's slate, it's pretty solid, pretty stacked. There's some pretty good games coming through, so we're gonna break those down. But I
Sure.
know you a Michigan fan, so how's your feelings through week one and week two?
Well, we we got the freshman sensation, Mr. Bryce Underwood, and I'm trying to figure out what Chip is doing with him. Because you went out and spent the money that you spent to get him, and you're still running a very vanilla offense, not letting him take chances, not letting him take risks. Um, if he's going to be the quarterback of the future, 5-star, best in class, you got to let him play the position of a quarterback. The Oklahoma game, I did not like seeing him do check down after check down after check down after check down. I don't think that's his talent. I don't think that's his strong suit. Let him open the field up. Let him take off on his legs. It's still early. He's still young, but right now I'm on the fence about the play calling with Bryce Underwood. Not so much him, but the play calling with him.
No, I feel that. I feel that. We also saw in week one that people are starting to overrate Arch Manning. Is he good or is he bad? You know what people are saying. I mean, last week he played San Jose State. I mean, they dog walked him. He had 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he looked like to be hurt. Who knows? Sark had an interesting interview after. It's like uh, questioning the reporters that he had a funny comment, but I still think if everyone's gonna buy like everyone's downplaying Arch, this is the time to buy low on him. I feel like he's still young. He can still prove it out. And like he's a Manning. It's not like he's not gonna come back next year, especially like how this
Right.
season has turned
Right.
out so far. So
And we have this thought process in our head, I think, because he's a Manning. He is supposed to just go out there and be automatic 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think people really forget that his first opponent was the defending national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, a team
mhm,
that, through history of college football, as much as I hate to say this, being a Michigan fan, has been a dominant program. Right,
for
like
sure.
you don't just beat up on Ohio State unless you are levels better than them. We've seen Alabama and Clemson and Michigan and a couple of other very, very, very good teams do it. But this is Arch's real first, start.
Hmm.
And to have it against the defending national champions, that's not easy, especially when you're in their house.
For sure.
The two is one of the hardest places to play in. I think Arch has got a very high ceiling. I think people are being very hypercritical on him for no reason. I think he's going to be just fine. Texas might not get it done this year, but I do think they're going to be a playoff team this year, next year, if he decides to stick around. And I think people got to stop that game one takeaway because you're going in the house of the defending national champions. Good luck.
Yeah, I agree with you. And their schedule the rest of the year is favorable too. I think they still
Mhm.
make the playoffs. I mean, their only other tough game really is Georgia, so we'll see how that shakes out. And
Right.
Speaking of Georgia, they got a pretty tough game this week. They'll see how they fare against the Tennessee Vols, man.
I'm 45 minutes away from the stadium, man. And yeah, Neyland is loud. They are rowdy. The University of Tennessee over the last few years, as you guys know, they've gotten their feet back under them. People forget, and I know through the 2000s and 2010s, that team was not good, but people forget what the University of Tennessee used to be
Hmm.
prior. That was a very dominant squad for a very long time. And it feels like they getting their feet back under them. First playoff appearance last year obviously didn't go their way, but Georgia's going to be in a dogfight, pun intended.
Oh yeah, I lean toward. I take the that's a home dog game. I lean the home dog in Tennessee, man. I think the Smoky Dog beats the dog, Bulldog. You know what I mean? That's where I'm leaning at least. And like you saw what Nico, the fall off of Nico needs to be studied. What he's doing at UCLA is just he's just not doing what needs to be done. I feel like Josh Heupel is a great coach, and this Joey Aguilar kid has the opportunity to put himself in the running for
Colton.
Heisman even.
Sorry, I had a
Okay.
little bit of a technical riff there. My service cut out there. Sorry about that.
All right. Did you? But
Mm.
I was saying Joey Aguilar has the potential to show up and show out at this Georgia game, putting his name on notice. I mean, this Josh Heupel system is very quarterback friendly, and they definitely have the opportunity to upset Georgia right here in this spot.
Well, this matchup to me is it's going to be a telltale on two really really good teams, two very 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 experienced teams. Especially when you talk about playoffs, this is going to be both their true tests. I know Tennessee had Syracuse in week one. That's not really,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
nothing big.
really, they're gonna nine times out of ten they're gonna beat Syracuse. But I think you're
Hmm.
gonna get a telltale sign on how these teams are gonna run their offense and defense because I don't think we've seen either of them really show their cards yet. And of course, when it comes to a guy like Kirby over in Georgia, he's not going to until he has to. And
Yeah.
Tennessee's been the same way. Um, where are you leaning, honestly? If you're making your prediction on this game, are you giving the edge to Tennessee and Neyland, or do you think Georgia continues this run of domination where they've held them under 17 for like the last 7, 8 meetups?
I'm taking the home dog, the Tennessee dog, man. Give me Tennessee. Give me the Vols.
And I think if we're talking about Georgia a couple years ago, I would disagree with you, but I think I agree with you, man. I think Tennessee finally snaps that losing streak. I think they keep the ball rolling. I'm not discrediting Georgia. I just man, Tennessee looks really really good. They look really comfortable. They look poised. I know it's only 2 weeks, but I got a good feeling about Tennessee going forward, and just the way they've been recruiting, and even recruits coming in the future. They've
Hmm.
really hit the. I mean, they've been hitting recruiting hard.
For sure, for sure. There's a couple more games this week that have pretty good SEC uh, factors coming in through. There's Ole Miss at Arkansas that has some potential to be a good game. I mean, Ole Miss is 9.5 point favorites. I lean towards Ole Miss in that game. Arkansas just really hasn't shown me anything. But
No.
there's a couple more. The big one,
LSU, you got LSU and
yeah,
Florida, which I'm excited to
that's the
see
big
because
one. Yeah.
with Florida coming off of this loss last week, it would
Hmm.
be the most Florida thing ever to just go ahead and beat LSU. It really would. I think LSU should win that game pretty handily, but it would be the most Florida thing ever for them to go in and just play upset to LSU.
Hmm.
Um, who else? We got Notre Dame and A&M, right?
Yeah, this is Notre Dame coming off a week 2 bye, something that I've never seen before, which is crazy. They go in, they lose to Miami week 1, and they spend a whole off week getting ready for this game. If they lose this game, I don't know where they stand in the playoffs, to be honest, because like Miami and A&M are two of their toughest, like on schedule, like strength of schedule. That's who they the two of the top teams, and if they go 0-2 in those, I don't know what it infers for their playoff implications, man. Are you here with me?
Oh no, my internet. There it goes. Um, sorry, I kicked out again. I don't know what's going on with my internet connection. It's nice and clear over here, but my internet's like not today. Uh, to go listen. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that the NCAA playoff committee they said that they're really going to take strength of schedule and stuff into consideration this year.
Mhm.
And I want to believe them, but I'm going to tell you right now, if Notre Dame goes 10-2 or 11-1, even with a loss here, if we're being honest, because of the money that they bring in, they'll still put them in the playoffs somewhere. They'll find a
Mm.
reason to put them there because at the end of the day, it's a top five team in the sense of revenue. I mean,
Yeah.
they got so much money that they can afford to just be independent and have their own TV contract, and it does not phase them at all. So uh, I think Notre Dame wins this game, but even if they don't and say it is a 10-2 team down the stretch, I just feel like the committee is going to put them in by default because they're not going to miss out on all that revenue.
Yeah, I feel you. I could see it. I could see it. I personally lean towards A&M just because of the SEC. I think the SEC bias. I mean, in that Miami game, the trenches of Notre Dame was just getting pushed around, man. That didn't like sell me on the Notre Dame. Like that's not the Notre Dame style. Normally their trenches are beefed up, and they didn't run Jeremiah Love hardly at all, which was honestly who I think is the best running back in college football right now, and they only ran him like 8 times. So I was like, you're not using your best weapon. CJ Carr looked okay, like he has potential for sure, but I don't know. I see A&M Mike Gelko coming in. I feel like the Aggies can pull this off. To be honest,
So, what other matchup are you looking at on paper? I know Vanderbilt. I'm a Big Ten guy.
Van.
I'm a Big Ten guy, and I'll get that out of the way, right? Like,
Yeah,
my primary focus is the Big Ten, but I'm really interested to see Vanderbilt this week.
Vanderbilt and South Carolina. This is a
I-
big game.
Listen. If Vandy beats South Carolina, I might get behind Vanderbilt. I might get behind the Commodores a little bit because
Y-
I like to see the underdog, man. Purdue right now is 2-0. They got a big game coming up, I believe, against USC. I'd love to see them get a 3-0 start. Last year, I believe they finished 1-11 or 2-10.
Yeah, yeah, they
I
were one
like
of the
seeing the
worst teams.
underdog, man. It's always good to see an underdog come out in the college football season, and why not Vanderbilt or Purdue?
Yeah,
Um,
listen, on this Vanderbilt game, right? They both have a common uh team they both played already in Virginia Tech. And
right.
it was a lot closer in the South Carolina Virginia Tech game than it was in the Vandy Virginia Tech game. I'm just telling you that. I lean towards
Good.
Vandy. I lean towards
Diego
Vandy.
Pavia, man.
Yeah,
He's
that's a
he's a bad
dog, bro.
man.
He's a dog. I trust in Diego. I had him last year. I won the most money off of bets and stuff off of betting Vanderbilt, and I think I'm going to bet on Vanderbilt to beat South Carolina this weekend. It's just, I mean, that offense, Sellers just doesn't have anyone to throw to. They don't really have much on. They have one weapon on offense and one guy on defense, and I don't think two guys can make up a whole 22 man. Like there's 22 guys playing, and only two of them are like X stars. So I give the edge to Vandy.
Man, I've been making the joke all week. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Not really an important game, but it is a game where I think we can see a little more of Bryce open the playbook. The Connor Stallions Bowl, Michigan, Central Michigan. We're going to figure out what sideline Connor Stallions is going to be on in that one. If you know, you know. Um, I'm excited to see this game. Anyone who knows me knows Central Michigan was my alma mater. That's where I was. I had an opportunity to go play football. Never ended up coming to fruition. I had other situations that I put over it, specifically because I want to see where they're going to go with Bryce in this game. We had a very vanilla offense for the first 2 weeks. I want to see them open it up a little bit now that you're going to be getting to week 4 after this and getting into Big Ten play. But yeah, man, where do you got? I mean, I think Michigan wins big, but I want to hear. Obviously, I
Yeah,
want to hear your
man.
opinion.
I mean, bro, my only problem with Michigan is I get that you're trying to save Bryce, you're not trying to show the whole playbook early, but I mean that man's a dual threat quarterback. You gotta let him open it up a little bit. And I mean he has some arms, so like the check down, I get the check down thing. Like you gotta be able to read and make your reads, but like let him open up the playbook, man. Your defense is spotty, but I don't think Central Michigan's offense is a world beater, so I think y'all probably easily end up getting that win.
Well,
I mean, if you want to
what
swing it to the ACC real quick, though, there is a big ACC game that
I
isn't
was
talked
actually
about.
going to ask you if you wanted to go over that
Yeah,
way. 'Cause
yeah. Listen. Clemson almost lost to Troy last week, right? They almost
Clemson
lost.
is boy. Clemson is not what we thought they were going to be. They were, a lot of people said that is going to be a championship caliber team this year. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Klubnik, them Clemson Tigers, they ain't. I don't know,
they,
man. They're not looking good. It's not looking promising in Clemson right now.
yeah, and then the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, man. I think they have a chance to upset them. Like it's only a 3.5 point spread. What coming into the season, I'm pretty sure this game was like a 10+ point spread, and now it's gotten all the way down to three. Like I feel like Haynes King and the Yellow Jackets can stomp up some madness, and I feel like this is going to be an upset. I have a lot of upsets going into this week, like in a lot of these big games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you there. I do think that Tech has a ample opportunity to get a W here, and like I said, I mean, I'm taking Vandy. I want to see them win. I'm kind of with you. I think we're going to have a week of upsets, and staying over in that direction. Florida State. Florida State.
Castellanos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. We'll recap that as well. Coming into the season, everybody's making fun of them. And let's just say, I think Florida State's on a bit of a revenge tour. You said we weren't good enough to go to the playoffs 2 seasons ago. We got beat down by Georgia. You said this was your reason why. We had a bad year. Why not come back and be better? And Florida
Yeah.
State, they look like a damn good football team right now.
They do. They do. I picked after week 2, I picked them to win the ACC. I put a bet down. I'm like, this is good value right here. I don't think their schedule is like too tough. I think they're better than Miami. I give them the edge over Miami just because Miami. I don't trust Cristobal at all. Like in that Notre Dame game, they were beating Notre Dame, and then Mario Cristobal coached Miami into letting Notre Dame come back. He's bad. He's not a good coach. I'm not a fan. So I mean, I lean towards Florida. I want the Seminoles to win the ACC for my pocket's sake, and I think it would be a good comeback story too. And speaking of Miami, they play USF South Florida this
That's
week.
the other ranked matchup, right? I think we got 3 head-to-head ranked matchups this week. I believe that is the third one because we got Notre Dame and A&M. Obviously, we talked about that. And then,
LSU, Florida, yeah, and this is 3. I think there's 4 because Georgia and Tennessee.
yeah,
So,
Georgia and Tennessee. Is
so
Florida
this
still
is
ranked? I don't even know if Florida's still ranked, are they?
Florida. Yeah, I don't know. Florida might not be ranked. You probably are right on that. I think
Well,
you're right.
we'll go. You know what? I'm going to tell you like this, man. I'm intrigued by this game because, listen, USF is one of them teams that in the offseason I said that I think could potentially be a 10-win team and sneak into the playoffs. A lot of people called me crazy on it. But again, I like the underdog story. I like the team that doesn't do much and then pops up. Could it be USF this year? It could be. Now, if they go in here and take this win, hey, they building a pretty good case for themselves.
Yeah, I think that solidifies themselves as the group of 5 spot, honestly. Because they beat Boise, and then they go and they beat Florida, and then if they beat Miami, that's 3 ranked wins, all under their
Right.
belt. I think that is more than enough to get them as the group of 5 commit. Do I think they can beat Miami though? I think this is a Miami squash spot personally. I feel like everyone's going to be on USF here. This is the one dog I'm not going to take. And I could look stupid after it because I was just dogging on how bad Mario Cristobal is as a coach. So here I
Hey,
am going back on my word, but we'll see. This is how college football is, man.
I can't blame you on that. I did my my weekly pick'ems, and I will tell you, I did not take USF. I would love to see it. I would love to see them get the W. Back-to-back ranked wins would be awesome for them. But I don't know, man. Them hurricanes down there in Florida get pretty rough, and that's a tough one. I do think Miami takes that game. What? Let's talk about what matchup. Not necessarily a big matchup, but what's the matchup that you're excited to see that you're like really looking at? The team that you're looking at this week that you're like, I want to see what they do.
Outside of, my team, I'm not even looking at Virginia. Honestly, we had a big game last week and we fumbled and we choked. So I'm out on Virginia for now. But this week, who I'm looking at, I'm mainly looking at that Vandy South Carolina game because this is the Lenore Sellers spot. Everyone's like Lenore Sellers is this next. Honestly, he's Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson could complete a pass, is what he's. I don't know. That's how I see it. So I want to see what he's made out of. I want to see the dog and Diego Pavia. That game really intrigues me. That's what I'll be tuning into.
Um,
How is it for you?
Alabama, Wisconsin. I don't
Oh,
know why. I don't know why, but I don't think Wisconsin's a good team. I don't. I think that they're trying to work back to getting to a point that they were at where they were kind of on the cusp. They had a big fall off. Wisconsin used to give the Big Ten some troubles. They never
mhm.
really able to get over the hump. But I'm kind of interested to see what Alabama's going to do coming back into playing in a Power Five. Now you're going up against a Big Ten opponent.
Yeah,
Obviously, last week they dominated Louisiana Monroe, but they should dominate a team like that.
yeah,
Florida State, we've seen what happened. Wasn't pretty. Florida State put belt to ass. on Bama, and that's just the only way to put it. But I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen here. Not because I think Wisconsin can pull off the upset, but because I'm looking at it like if Alabama goes out here and wins, say 20-17, I think they're going to lose 3 or 4 games this year. If Alabama comes out here, steamrolls them 55-10, we might have Alabama back. So I'm excited to see that game because I think that's going to draw a line in the sand for the Alabama Crimson Tide and where their program is right now. And a lot of people say it's week 3, it's only week 3, but keep in mind there's only 12 weeks in college football, which means we're already a quarter of the way through the season after this week. So, excuse me, I'm really excited for that game. I want to see what Bama does. It'd be cool for Wisconsin to pull the upset there because then I can, beat my chest. Big Ten bias over here, not really, but I do want to see that game, man. I'm excited to see that one.
Well, the line screams Alabama. It's Alabama -20, and last year Alabama with the same type of is Alabama good? Is Alabama not? They squished them, so it's gonna be are they gonna squish them again? So we'll have to see. I lean more towards this is an Alabama get right spot, but I mean it's always fun to see the Badgers play. They had some great backs back in the day. It'd be great to see them. I'm not a SEC homer by any means because my team's in the ACC, but I do kind of lean towards SEC football just because I'm from the South. So.
I mean, and I don't blame you. I mean, we've talked about it for a long time. The last couple of years, obviously, we know the Big Ten's won the national titles, but if you're realistically talking about, sorry about the lawnmower in the background, if you're realistically talking about, dominant football over the last 25 years, it's kind of been the SEC and then everybody else following behind them. And I feel like that trend is slowly changing because of the playing field being equaled out, but with NIL and stuff. But I don't know, man. This one really does scream a statement game for Alabama, and I think we're going to find out a lot about the offense going forward for Bama because, like I said, if you lose this game, your playoff chances almost go out the window. You're 1-2, terrible, and then you still got the whole SEC you got to play through. If you win this game and it's a close 2017 type game and you're limited by Wisconsin, the SEC is very good this year. LSU looks phenomenal. Georgia, Tennessee, both looking good. Florida's got a roster. I know they stumbled against USF, but it's still they still have a pretty solid roster. So if you stumble in this game and you barely come out with a win, I'm going to be questioning you going forward. But if you come out and outright dominate, maybe then I'm going to be like, okay, Bama's got their groove back. But I don't know, man. This year is an interesting year for football because I can say the last 4 years I have predicted the national champions. Last year I took Ohio State. The year prior I did take my Wolverines. And the 2 years prior to that, contrary to what everybody thinks, I did take Georgia. The game that we faced Georgia 4 years ago, I said Georgia was going to whoop our ass with Kate McNamara. But this year I have no prediction. I don't. This year feels wide open. I feel like anybody can come out of anywhere. It could be Miami. It could be Florida State. It could be Bama, Georgia, Tennessee. It could be Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. I want it to be Penn State. I would like to see James Franklin get over the hump and get a championship for Penn State again. But I feel like this season is wide open.
Speaking of Penn State, they haven't played anybody through their first 2 weeks, man. They played like Long Beach. They played like Nevada. They played Villanova this week. What are they doing in their early schedule? They ain't playing nobody early. They go to Oregon. I think they have their bye week after this week in week 4, and then they go to Oregon, or Oregon comes to them, one of the two.
It's a Penn State thing to do, man. If you notice the Big Ten, and I'm not saying we like to schedule big, but, Ohio State, they're coming off the sequence with Texas. They got Oklahoma and Georgia in the future, and then they've got a thing with Bama. Michigan has, Texas last year, Oklahoma this year, and Oklahoma. Next year we face Oklahoma and Michigan, and then we face Texas and Texas. And then we have a home series with Alabama and Notre Dame. And Oregon's doing the same thing. The only team that really people consider a powerhouse in the Big Ten that's not doing that really feels like Penn State year in and year out. It's almost like all 3 games are just a walkthrough game. I like Penn State this year, though. You talk about bringing back a senior quarterback and Drew Aller. The majority of the team is back. They lost their tight end. I understand that. But at the end of the day, I feel like this team returned the most. And they were already in a position last year where they were on the verge of going. It was an interception down the, going down the field and a bad throw by Aller that end of the game. Same thing in the Big Ten championship game. It feels like if Aller can take that next step forward and be a leader that he needs to be, Penn State can win a natty. And I do believe that they have a shot to do that, but it's going to be up to Drew Aller to take that step forward. And if you got to take the ball out of his hand, run the ball. You have the running backs to do it at Penn State right now. If you got to take the clock away and run the ball and take it out of Drew Aller's hands, then James Franklin has to be willing to do that. It's just something I don't feel like we see them do very often. But Penn State, I think, is a really, really loaded roster. And I really feel like they can make a run deep for a championship this year.
No, I agree with you, man. They returned a lot. They also, I know they lost their main weapon in Tyler Warren, but they also brought in a bunch of transfer receivers that Drew Aller really never had like a 5-star, 4-star receiver. Now he does. Now he has receivers that he can throw the ball to. Like you said, they got good backs. I feel like this Penn State team is primed and ready. I have them in the Big Ten championship, honestly. But I think it just depends. They go as far as James Franklin will take them, man. I don't know. It's just whether he chokes or not. I still think he's a better coach than. I'm just gonna hate on Mario Cristobal sometimes because I don't know. I just don't. Sometimes he's just like, "What are you doing, man?" Like I scratch my head at his decision making sometimes. So I don't know. If James Franklin can't get it done this year, it's like, will he ever get it done? Is the
I
question.
don't think he will. Too much talent's going to be leaving this year, and then you're going to have to revamp and the rest of. There's 3 things, right? First and foremost, in the Big Ten this year, you currently have Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon resetting quarterbacks, putting a lot of new players in position. That's one. So it's wide open to you right now because you definitely are the most veteran team in the Big Ten. Number 2 is you're one of the most veteran teams in college football all around. And the major programs right now, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Tennessee, they're all fiddling with new quarterbacks, some new systems, some new coordinators. You're not. You're not by any stretch of the imagination. If you can't get it done this year when everybody else looks like they could potentially be in semi-rebuilds or full rebuild years, I don't think you get it done, period. Because next year, you lose everything. Drew Aller's gone. Your main running back's gone. You got a lot of defensive pieces that are going to be going into the draft next year, a lot of seniors on that team. So if you're Penn State and you don't get it done this year, I don't think you do. I just don't. I think Penn State next year is probably going to regress down to like an 8-4 team, if I'm being honest.
That's something to keep an eye on then, because James Franklin, I don't know if he don't win it this year, he might be gone. I don't know. He's done so much for that school though, so we'll have to see.
Think about it. It's very similar to Michigan, right? When you look at what they did, they built the team with they started with Cade, but they got excuse me, they got Loveland over there. They got Corum and Edwards, and they had Rod Moore and Will Johnson and Kenneth Grant, Aiden Hutchinson. They had all these pieces in place. And then once they got, it got better and better and better. That senior year where you had JJ and Corum was going to be gone and you knew all these guys were going to be gone, what did they do? They finally got it done, right? And then, after all these guys left, coach left, the DC and OC, they're gone. Michigan has struggled. I mean, they went 8-5 last year, had a couple of big wins, but I feel like that's going to be the position Penn State is in next year. They're going to lose a lot. And I feel like it's going to put them back down to that 7-5, 8-4, rebuilding back up. And, that's going to put them a year behind Ohio State and Michigan and Oregon and Illinois and all of those teams that are playing pretty good football right now. Nebraska.
Patrick Mahomes Jr.
Yeah, man. Patrick Mahomes Jr. I just really feel like this is the year that Penn State's got to get it done, and maybe that's why I lean on them so heavy. If you were to ask me my way too early prediction for the national championship, I'm going to say Penn State wins it. But again, way too early. There's a whole 10 more games to be played before we even think about seeding, let
Yeah,
alone the championship. But
yeah,
it's an interesting season for sure, man. I think this one is wide open. This is an 07 type season where I think it's wide open for everybody.
yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. There's a lot more ball to be played, a lot more ball to be watched, and a lot more plays to be made by all these teams.
For sure.
I think that's
For
all we
sure.
got for this week. If you have any closing things, I can just shut it down.
No, man, I think I'm good. Hey, so this was the first episode for college.
Hmm.
And man, I want to make this a mainstay. Have fun doing this stuff, going over these games. College football is everything, man. If you don't like college football, I'm not moved. I'm just going to be real with you. If you're not a college football fan, I'm not moved. But man, it's good to talk with you, Jimmy. We'll
Oh
have
yeah,
to get
man.
back up, see how these predictions go and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead
Hmm.
and bounce. Go
All
blue.
right.
Have a good one.
All right. Stay tuned. Not Move Podcast. Not moved out.